Here's a video of me doing chin-ups this morning at 190 pounds. Now here's a picture of me 7 years ago. How did I get from that to what I am today? I'm TJ, your men's holistic health coach. Today we're talking about bulking up, we're going to talk about putting on muscle and how to become just a better and better man as you put on muscle. It's not all about the actual putting on muscle, but it's also your mindset. It's also about who you become in the process. I've become a completely changed man from who I was 7 years ago, and I hope 7 years for anyone is long enough for you to change and to improve and to evolve. And over this past 7 years, I've learned a ton, and I'm going to give you guys a lot of good, really helpful information on how you can go from a skinny little twig like I used to be to a bigger guy now, someone who people actually look up to as far as putting on muscle, raising your levels of testosterone, increasing self-awareness. These are all things I help men do because I've helped myself to do it. So let's get right into it and how you can actually put on muscle and start to look jacked and bigger. Well, to give you some context, 7 years ago, I was addicted to pot. I drank alcohol constantly. I hung out with friends who weren't the best for me, and I wasn't in the best place, as usually a lot of teenagers are sometimes, especially teenage boys who are a little more rowdy and want to be rebellious and cool and whatever. That's where I was. I was also a twig. I didn't date. I didn't have my first kiss. Girls were not really interested in me, and I wanted that to change. I had buddies who were in football, and thankfully they helped me to learn how to lift and to actually put on muscle. So what I started learning from them at being this 130-pound kid was I started to learn confidence real quick because, of course, I know I looked funny when I first went to that gym and I was trying out all these weights, and I probably started these little 5-pound dumbbells or something. I don't really remember, but I'm sure it's how it looked. I'm sure I looked really goofy. And so one of the best things to learn from people isn't so much the weight that you're going to use. Don't worry so much about that, especially at first. Worry more about your form. Getting the form right is so important because then you're going to prevent yourself from getting injuries. So you want amazing form, whether you're going to learn from a friend, learn from a personal trainer, whether it's online or physical. Just make sure it's a form that you're comfortable with. Make sure if you're feeling pain, if you're feeling stinging pain, shooting pain, then whoever it is that's coaching you is probably not the best coach for you, and it's time to find someone else. So make sure you're getting the good form down, especially if you're a beginner, you've never been to the gym. You don't want to just watch other people doing, because it doesn't mean that just because they're at the gym they have good form too. So you want to have good form with all the exercises you're doing. When you're beginning, beginner gains are wonderful. I pretty quickly went from 130 pounds to maybe 150, 160 in a matter of maybe 2 years. So I put it on pretty quick, and you can do the same. Beginner gains happen because your body is getting all this new stimulus. All of a sudden you're eating a lot, you're lifting weights, and you're doing so much new stuff. Your body's adapted real quickly. So beginner gains are beautiful and they're amazing. So that'll be a wonderful experience for you as you start this journey. You're going to see that to help you build confidence, and it'll help you to keep on going, because it really is all about the process of doing this, not so much what is the exact goal I can do, because goals are great. Goals are wonderful to shoot for. It's good to have a optimum body weight that you want to hit, but it was never really about the goal. It's about the person I became. So it's not all about the goal. It's not about even the muscle. It's about realizing you become a new man. And the process of putting on muscle, of becoming more fit, becoming more healthy, is a wonderful process to do that, to help you bring up those positive emotions, to realize your true potential as a man. Now, another thing that I did when I was a beginner is I ate junk, because that's just what people told me to do. They said, if you want to gain weight fast, this is what you do. You eat a big plate of 20, 30 low quality chicken nuggets, and then you drink down a protein shake that also has a bunch of sugary peanut butter, and you just eat a bunch of candy. And so this is things I did. And did it help me gain weight quick? Yes, it sure did. And I gained a lot of weight pretty quickly, although I was what you can call skinny fat. So I did have a six-pack for a little bit, but eventually I would have a little more fat on me, a little more body fat accumulated from just eating junk. So I hit my protein goals, and then I also ended up eating way too much fat and sugar and all this stuff. So whether you want to dirty bulk or what we can call clean bulk is up to you. I'm always going to suggest clean bulking, because yes, it may take you slightly longer to put on just weight, mass, but you don't just want body mass or body fat, at least a lot of body fat. You want to be able to put on muscle. If you want to do a healthy bulk, you are going to end up putting on slightly more body fat, but that is completely okay. That body fat's going to help sustain you in your process of growing and putting on muscle in a bulk. And so body fat is okay. We just don't want an excess amount of body fat. And so maybe you already have an idea of what is going to be a healthy food for you, but You can watch videos on my YouTube channel. There's other YouTube videos, plenty of information out there on how to find out what's actually going to be healthy for you. But one of the biggest things is eating enough protein in a day. This is going to be around a gram protein per pound of your goal body weight. So for example, if I want to be 200 pounds, which is 10 pounds away from where I'm at right now, then I want to be eating at least or around 200 grams of protein each day because it's my goal body weight. So when I was 130 pounds and I wanted to be 170 pounds, I had to eat around 170 grams of protein a day. So protein, all your macronutrients, your proteins, carbs, and fats are all very essential, but you especially want to hit that protein goal because protein is made of amino acids. Amino acids break down into helping your muscle fibers and building up muscles. So you want to make sure you have enough protein. And to go back to dirty bulking real quick, dirty bulking, if you eat a bunch of junk, they're going to end up having other issues down the road. Thankfully, after the first few years of this journey that I've been on, I stopped dirty bulking. I realized that the food I was eating was just junk. And I realized I could feel a lot better and look a lot better if I ate a little cleaner. So thankfully, this only lasted for so long for me. But make sure that you're going about in a clean bulk, so you're taking care of your body, but you're also able to put on and maintain muscle. So now let's talk about calories. So at the beginning, calorie counting was essential for me because, like many guys, I was actually underfed. I thought I was eating a lot, but to be honest, I really wasn't. And it's not so much that you have to eat 3 ginormous meals and you're puking because you're eating so much. It's actually really good just to eat a bunch of small meals throughout the day, or you have a big breakfast, a big lunch, a big dinner, and then you have small meals in between. Whatever you need to do, because at first you still are going to be slightly uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable. I remember being 130 pounds and just eating, and now that's what it took at the time. But you can still find a comfortable limit, but then also push yourself slightly to being uncomfortable. And you're going to want to do that because, of course, there's no growth in the comfort zone. So you want to slowly push yourself. You don't want to go head over heels in one day overnight, trying to all of a sudden eat a ton more calories. Just slowly bump up your calories each day or each week is really going to be better. And you can increase it by 100 calories each day, week by week. And so, for example, if you're eating 2,100 calories each day for 1 week, then you do 2,200 calories every day on the next week. It really depends on how quickly you're trying to put on weight and what your ultimate goal is. And so right now, for example, I'm pretty cool 190 pounds. I'm good with my weight. I like it. And so I'm really not trying to eat a ton. But if you want to put on muscle quick, weight quick, then you can go ahead and bump up those calories. So really, the calorie counting is essential, at least at the beginning. And it's important for you to still enjoy the food, not see it just as a number, but also see this as storing energy into your body and building up muscle so you can be bigger and bigger. As far as what you could use to count calories, Myfitnesspal is a free version, and I've used it for years. And I've had my clients use it for years, and it works great. You can still get a lot of stuff out of the free version. Of course, the paid versions probably have better tools for you to use, but I've always used the free version. I've been okay with it. And calorie counting isn't something you necessarily have to do the rest of your life, unless you, of course, I guess you want to. But you don't have to. With calorie counting, you can just go about it where for example, I do it maybe once every few months just to make sure that I'm still hitting my macros and my goals. But at this point, I've been doing this for years, and so everything comes intuitively to me, and I'm able to realize what's new protein, carb, and fat. And so it's a little easier for me. But at first, calorie counting is very, very helpful to see, so you're not being underfed and you're getting enough food into your body to be able to maintain and put on muscle. All right, so once you have the form of the exercises down, you can do them safely without hurting yourself, then that's a wonderful step. So next, you want to be able to make your program, otherwise known as your muscle split. And so your muscle split is basically you're going to do certain muscles on certain days because you don't want to just do the same muscle over and over and over again, or else you're going to overtrain, you're not going to see as much growth. And you don't want to just have big biceps but little everything else. You want to be able to have a good symmetrical form to your body. So for example, I didn't do legs for years like a lot of people. I don't suggest that. I suggest you do definitely have legs in your program, so you have also bigger legs as well as a bigger upper body. And I'm still looking at the after effects of that years later. And so you want to be able to have a good symmetrical form, so you have a muscle split or your workout program with different muscles you incorporate throughout the week. So for example, I work 3-4 days on at work and 3 to 4 days off. And so then what I'll do is on one day I do chest and back, next day I do shoulders and arms, the next day I do legs and abs. And that way I get all the different parts of the body into 1 week. And so you can use that muscle split, very simple, and it's very helpful because you get everything. Next, you're going to figure out how many sets and how many reps you want to do. So if you didn't know already, a set is a given number of repetitions you're going to do of the exercise in a given period of time. So what I recommend for sets is I usually do anywhere from 3 to about 4 sets, especially when it comes to hypertrophy or putting on muscle. Now it can be a little different when I'm going for more of a strength training, but that's going to be another time for another video. Right now we're going to talk about hypertrophy or muscle growth. So for muscle growth, I recommend anywhere from 3 to 4 sets. Now as far as repetitions within the set, there's something that I want to talk about. It's called muscle tension. So muscle tension is the given amount of time of tension that you're putting your muscle under during a set. For the best muscle hypertrophy, you want to be putting yourself through 30 to 60 seconds for each set. So for example, if I'm going to be doing chin-ups, I want to be able to take 30 to 60 seconds to do those chin-ups. Well, and another way we can see this is that each rep is going to take anywhere from maybe 6 seconds to about 8 seconds, assuming I'm doing anywhere from 6 to about 10 reps. This way I'm making sure I'm getting enough time under tension within the set. You can also just set a timer on your phone while you do it, but I think it's a better way to go ahead and to perform the repetitions a little slower. So for example, when I'm doing chin-ups, I go quicker as I'm going up, and then when I'm coming down, I'm going a little slower. So I'm going slower on the eccentric or negative movement of the exercise. And there's been studies that have shown that you are going to gain more muscle on the eccentric movement, although you still want the concentric or the positive part of the exercise. So you want both parts, but make sure to make them long enough that you fit in that time under tension zone, which again is anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds per set. So you want to make sure that your reps aren't too short, because that's what I used to do. My repetitions used to be really quick, and my set would probably be only maybe 15, 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. Now I still gain muscle, and you will, as a beginner, you'll still gain muscle no matter what you do because you're putting on all this new stimulus to your body, but it's going to be very optimal for you to be able to have those sets from 30 to 60 seconds. Now for me, when I hit the plateau of getting to about, I think it was 160 or 170 pounds, I wanted to get to 200. Now that's a big jump, but I actually did get very close to hitting into 200 in a relatively short time, in a matter of maybe 2.5 years, maybe. And I was able to do this quickly because what I learned was time under tension. I wasn't putting myself through enough time and having my muscles tensed up for enough time. And so what I started doing was I started putting myself into that 30 to 60 second range, sometimes even longer than just slightly over 60 seconds. And that helped me to get all the way up to 190. And I was just shy of 200 at one point. But anyway, time under tension is very helpful. So make sure you're incorporating that amount of time into each set. Lastly, what is helpful for getting you over plateaus, and you will hit plateaus. And what I mean by plateau is I mean that you're going to get to a point where you might hit, let's say, 170 pounds like I did, and you're stuck there no matter what you're doing. Maybe you're doing slightly heavier weights, you're still not getting much past 170. Now what you can do to get past that is doing what are called supersets. You can also do drop sets and do rest pauses. So what's a superset? A superset is when you do 2 exercises and you do it right after the other. So for example, I can do bench press and then right after I do dips. Now both those exercises are still going to be 30 to 60 seconds for each, so I can get the maximum amount of tension out of each exercise, but I'm doing them right next to each other. Now this is great for when you don't have enough time to work out for an hour and a half a day. I used to be able to work out an hour and a half a day, sometimes even 2 hours if I wanted to. I was able to take my time, which is still great. I saw a lot of benefits, but if you're like me, or maybe you're a father, you've got a lot of work to do, then it's not ideal that you're going to be doing 2 hours a day or hour and a half a day, or even an hour. And so even in a 45-minute session, you can get a lot done with supersets. And maybe in a superset, you do need to take a brief break between 2 exercises, especially when you're starting out. That was the case for me. When I started doing supersets, I would be so winded. I'd be so worn out. And so I still had to take maybe 20, 30 seconds between each. That's completely okay. The idea is you're still doing 2 different exercises, but you're doing closer together just for the sake of time. Although you don't want to just be doing this throughout your entire workout with every exercise. You really need those rest periods. And that is something I should have mentioned earlier in this video or this podcast, depending on how you're consuming this, is that you do need rest periods. So you need at least 60 seconds of rest between each set, unless you, of course, you're going to do a superset. But you just don't want to do a superset throughout the entire workout session for the day. So for example, you don't want to just be only taking a 10-second break between each exercise. That's going to be too much for you, and you'll be too worn out to even finish the session. So you want those rest periods anywhere from 60 seconds to 120 seconds, 180 seconds maybe, to be able to get enough rest so you can breathe, and then you can get ready to do the next set. And so what I also like to do is I don't even necessarily count. I just wait until my heart rate goes down a little bit, and then I go ahead and get back on the bench or do dips or curls, squats, whatever it is I'm doing. And so I want to make sure you're having those rest periods in between. All right, so let's talk about drop sets. So drop sets are when, for example, let's say I'm curling 20-pound dumbbells and I want to get to 8 reps, but I can only get to 3. Then it'll be very helpful for me to go ahead and all of a sudden drop the weight down to 15-pound dumbbells or even 10-pound dumbbells. And then I go from there, finishing out the set. So a drop set is where you can choose to go a little heavier at first, and then you all of a sudden drop down and go lighter. Now, this is very helpful when I would hit plateaus and I need to gain more strength. And so, for example, when I could only curl 20-pound dumbbells, then it was very helpful that I curled 20-pound dumbbells for the few first reps, and then I went and finished out the set with 10 pounds or 15 pounds, and eventually I could do the 20 pounds easy throughout the entire set. Drop sets are very helpful. Ideally, you want to be able to change the weight quick so you can finish out the set in the 30 to 60 second range of time. So you want to have those other dumbbells or weights or whatever it is ready for you so you can drop down the weight real quick and go from there. So throughout this journey, I've used drop sets, I've used supersets, and now finally I have been discovering the rest pause method. So the rest pause method has greatly helped me to improve some strength gains and to get over even more plateaus, such as my 190-pound plateau at the moment. And at plateaus, you can use the rest pause method. So the rest pause method is when you finish out a set and then you use about 15 to 30 seconds to sit there, take some deep breaths, and then go right back into your exercise. And then you do this over and over until you get to failure. And so rest pause is very helpful to really pushing yourself so you're able to make those strength gains and those muscle mass gains, the hypertrophy gains. So there's one more thing that is crucial to putting on muscle and maintaining muscle. You want to be pushing yourself to at failure or close to failure. What I mean by that is that you're performing an exercise, right? And you're doing it, it's getting hard. You want to get to the point where you can't even do another rep. And you don't have to get to that point every single set. You don't have to get to that point every single day, but you want to be either getting to that or want to be about 3 reps shy of getting to that point where you can't do anymore. This shouldn't be just a piece of cake for you all the time, because you're not going to put on muscle if you're not pushing your body. And you want to be pushing your body because, of course, why is it going to adapt to stimulus or even put on muscle if you're not going to push it? Now, this is just as much as an exercise thing, as a physical thing, as it is a mental thing. You want to be pushing yourself mentally because there's going to be times where you're going to want to stop. You're not going to want to get close to failure or even at failure, and you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to be sweating a lot. Your heart's going to be racing. But this is a big deal when it comes to your mental struggles, because if you can push yourself through this, you can push yourself through hard things of just lifting weights, then this helps you with everything else in your life. Now, this is the mindset piece I mentioned at the beginning of this video or podcast, and the mindset is very, very helpful in realizing that you can be a better man because you can push yourself through the limitations of your own mind, of the things that you put onto your life. And once you realize that you can push yourself and you can go past what you're comfortable with, then you realize that you can do just about anything you set your mind to. Now, I know it sounds cheesy, but weightlifting is a great way of practicing this and a great analogy of life. Realizing that the only limitations that you have is limitations you put on yourself. And so when you're pushing yourself, you're going to failure, then of course you're telling your body, hey, my body better make some muscle so I can lift this weight. And now, again, you don't have to get to failure, complete failure all the time. You're going to really wear out yourself if you do that. But at least get close to it in every set you do, so that way you're pushing yourself and you're getting the necessary muscle growth that you want. All right, guys, in exchange for me giving you all this wonderful, helpful information, all I ask is that you go ahead, you share this episode with someone, or you go ahead, you like, you subscribe, you do whatever it can to do whatever you can so this video is able to help more and more people, so this information can help more of you guys that are not eating enough, or maybe you're thin and you want to put on some muscle, then this information is greatly going to benefit you. So if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. I'll give you guys some more information. and I try and do a video or an episode every week. So I give out some helpful men's health topics to help you guys be better men. All right, we'll see you.